A translation by Srila Prabhupada. Nanda and Sunanda, two confidential associates of Lord Vishnu, said, "Dear King, let there be all good fortune unto you. Please attentively hear what we shall say. When you were only 5 years old, you underwent severe austerities, and you thereby greatly satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead." By Srila Prabhupada. What was possible for Dhruv Maharaj is possible for anyone. Any 5-year-old child can be trained, and within a very short time his life to become successful by realization of Krishna consciousness. Unfortunately, this training is lacking all over the world. It is necessary for the leaders of Krishna conscious movement to start educational institutions in different parts of the world to train children starting at the age of 5 years. Thus, children will not become hippies or spoiled children of society. Rather, they can all become devotees of the Lord. The face of the world will then change automatically. Well, very interesting verse. What was possible for Dhruv Maharaj is possible for anyone. That's the first line of this purport. I think it needs a little more discussion, and we'll discuss about it. Okay, I'll pay obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtavaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Aurvani Vijayani Visheshunimadi Vaishadeshtarine. Okay, 4:12:23. Now, this is a verse which is spoken by the messengers from Vaikuntha, Sunanda and Nanda. These are famous because these are the two messengers who mostly deputed to carry back Vaishnavas back to Godhead, back to Vaikuntha. It's almost their duties. I think when Ajamil went back to Godhead, I think these two were present there too. They came to escort him back to the spiritual world. So these Sunanda and Nanda, they are doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, just like Jay and Vijay, who became Hiranyaksh, Hiranyakashipu, and Kamsa, and then Ravan. So all these demons, Jay, Vijay, they took birth as. So these are one of the doorkeepers, Sunanda and Nanda, and they were deputed to carry or escort Dhruv Maharaj back to Vaikuntha. Now, when they came, they first greeted Dhruv Maharaj. Now, that's what is happening here. Now, one thing is that you can see. So there are many points in this verse. Prabhupada starts a purport with what was possible for Dhruv Maharaj is possible for anyone. I'll keep this line in the end. This needs a little discussion, but let's first go into the verse itself. So they first greet Dhruv Maharaj and they say Bho Bho Rajan. Now this word Bho Bho, it might seem funny because I mean to say if you go now to somebody and say Bho Bho, they'll become scared. That's all. It is madness to speak Bho Bho to anyone. So they might think we are just saying Bhau Bhau. But in Sanskrit, Bho Bho, in Vedic times, this phrase Bho Bho was a good one. This had a good connotation. Just like we say sadhu sadhu. So when everything is going nicely and accomplished nicely, you say sadhu sadhu. So similarly, there's an expression Bho Bho. Or for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uses expression Ai. Now this expression Ai is also funny nowadays because I mean to say if you go to South India, so South Indians use such kind of expressions, Ayyo Amma. It's like that. So I've heard many times like that, Ayyo Amma. So I there in South Indian language, the expression I is maybe because of pain or just because of some kind of surprise, this kind of expression, but it's not a good one. Uh, it carries a little negative tone. Uh, but when Mahaprabhu used I Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram, there he uses the word I, and that there the expression is having a little positive connotation, and there I means pain. Just as now, so so just as in South India also, I means pain. When somebody's pain, they might like in reflex speak this expression. But at that time it was pain, but at the same time it was pain with distress. I and Mahaprabhu used I, that was distress. It was pain out of distress, not pain out of physical pain. And he says, I Nanda Tanuja Kantaramala, oh my Lord, I'm in distress. I'm in so much distress that I'm having pain in my heart. Sometimes we're in so much distress, we start getting pain because that distress physically affects our heart and our mind, and that pains. And that's the intensity of love which Mahaprabhu is experiencing in relationship with Krishna. Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram. That's intensity. So in that Shikshashtakam words, the most important word is I. Or for example, Madhven Puri has used the same expression I in his verse, in his famous verse, I Mathuranatha Avlokasya. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hey Mathuranath, hey the Lord of Mathura. Kada Avlokasya, when will I see you? And he says I in the beginning. So there, there again, that's a pain out of distress. And Mahaprabhu says that verse of Madhven Puri, that's the seed of love of God, which he sowed just before the advent of Mahaprabhu. And then the tree of love of God sprouted from that seed. And then Mahaprabhu is actually commenting on that verse in his Shikshashtakam, the verse 5. I Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Abhishame Bhagavatham. It's so it's also so it's almost like Vyasadev commenting on Vedanta Sutra in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is natural commentary of Vyasadev, and Vyasadev he wrote the sutra Janmadhyasya Tha, and then he comments on Srimad Bhagavatam, the first verse Janmadhyasya Tha Nivaditratasya Bhikeswarat. So similarly, Mahaprabhu comments on the verse I Mathuranatha Kada Avlokasya, and he takes that expression I as the most important in the verse of in the verse which Madhven Puri said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then expands on that, keeping the theme of Madhven Puri in his own words. And then he says, I Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram. So this is all about expressions. I was talking about expressions of I, of sadhu sadhu, and this is another expression here. This is another expression, bho bho. So bho bho, in Vedic times, it was a good expression, and this was an expression to greet somebody. Bho bho. So when you meet somebody, you might say Bhavan, bho bho. So either you can say Bhavan, that is to speak you in terms of respect in Sanskrit, or you can say Bho bho. And Prabhupada translates, oh dear king, Bho bho Rajan, that means dear. So when you say Bho, that means dear. And that dear is out of respect. It's not dear out of love and beloved. It's not like that. So just like we say, dear Guru Maharaj. So that's a different kind of dear with respect. And if you say dear, so what can I say? Dear Annie, for example, or dear Sonali. That is a different kind of dear. That's with romantic love. But here it's with respect. So generally, this kind of term we use for respectful personalities. That's the whole point I'm trying to bring in. So Prabhupada translates as, "Oh dear king," but at the same time you should remember, keep in mind that this deer is carrying the flavor of respect. So that's the whole point. Vaikuntha people, Sunanda and Ananda, they're coming to escort Dhruva Maharaj back to Vaikuntha, and they're giving respect. And at the same time, they are giving him a respect as if he is known to them. It's not given so they're not giving respect to a stranger. They are giving respect to somebody whom they know. So just like we say, "Oh dear Guru Maharaj," that's a respect, and to the person whom you know. For a stranger, you can't use the term dear. You have to use the term respected sir. Just like if you give an application in university to the principal, you say, "Dear sir, I want to conduct such program." Oh, sorry, not dear sir, respected sir. Sorry. So we don't write "Dear sir" to the principal of a college. "Dear sir, I want to do a program." No, come on, it's crazy. Respected sir. But here I say, "Oh dear king." So the idea here is people from Vikunta, they are respecting Dhruva. That's interesting, isn't it? I mean to say, these Sunanda and Nanda, they are eternally liberated souls. Dhruva is not. Dhruva, we know he is not eternally liberated. He has become liberated by sadhana, and that point will come now in this verse. And in fact, these doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, they uh, they make him remember. See, ya pancha varshas tapsa, you did uh, austerities when you were 5 years old, and you satisfied Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you get liberated. So the whole point is he's sadhana siddh, and Nitya said people are giving respect to sadhana siddh person, Dhruva, and as if it was their own person. Now that's a very important point, this Bhagavatham, because that means when you become perfect, no matter whether you're Nitya Siddha or Sadhana Siddha, it doesn't matter. But when you become perfect, when you become Siddha, everyone is going to give you respect. Not only demigods, I mean to say, not only angels, not only big Maharishis, but actually even the people of Vaikuntha, they're going to give you respect. That's the first point to keep in mind by this expression, Bhur Rajan. And that is very important. The whole point is by this term we can understand the glories of devotion. That's the whole point. Devotion is so powerful. Krishna consciousness is so powerful, and it's so powerful that if you practice sincerely and genuinely, uh, everyone is going to give you respect, even people from spiritual world, because devotion makes you come and touch the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, Srila Prabhupada says, if you do devotion, God will be in your fist. He'll be under your control. And then who will not give you respect? Even God will give you respect. That's the whole point there. That's the whole point. And so, in fact, Rupa Goswami has written a book, Patyavali, and he quotes a verse which says, when a person goes back to spiritual world after he has perfected his life, even Lord Brahma, he is in anxiety how to welcome him. And he, in anxiety, he's preparing a plate for offering worship to him before even he has started his journey from his place back to spiritual world. So, when you go back to spiritual world, you have to pass through all these planets, isn't it? So just like if from Punjab I have to go to Delhi, I have to go through Kurukshetra, Ambala. These are the stations in between. Or suppose if you're going to go from Charlotte to maybe Boston, then you might have to go through New York or Washington, or in between, so many states will come. So when you're going back to spiritual world, you have to pass through Brahmlok, and Brahmaji is already preparing a plate, a arti plate, to offer an arti unto you when you go back. That is the power of devotion. That devotion can make grow into a hums. That's what Prabhupada Saraswati says. Crows like us, who even don't know how to talk, who have not even heard the name, the religion, what to, so let alone practice it. We will become into Hamsa, not only Hamsa, but Paramahamsa. That's the magic. You see the point? And that's what Prabhupada says, my magic was I converted hippies into happies. That was magic. And that's the whole term there, Bhorajan. They're giving respect to Dhruva because he is having devotion in his heart. He has perfected his devotion. So that's one point in this expression, Bhorajan. Another point in this expression, Bhorajan, is that this is culture. This is culture. And Prabhupada says, and Prabhupada brings a point of training in this book, by the way, to train children right from young age. And that point will come anyway in just a moment. But the whole idea is training in what? So training in Krishna consciousness, of course. But of course, training in Krishna consciousness cannot be separated from culture. Because if you go to temple and if you find devotees chanting Hare Krishna and doing all kind of devotional activities, but then they don't know how to talk, they don't know how to speak, and they're always talking rough, their whole place is not clean, and their behavior is rude, what kind of impression you will take back? So culture and Krishna consciousness goes together. Prabhupada often uses this term, the culture of Krishna consciousness, and also Prabhupada uses. So the whole point is, this is culture. When you meet somebody, you have to greet him, especially a person who is of the caliber of Dhruva Maharaj, who is a great associate of, who is a great devotee of Lord Vishnu and going to become his associate. So that's Bhagavatham, that's the respect. And even though these people, Nanda and Sunanda, they are two confidential associates of Lord Vishnu, Prabhupada writes in the translation. Two confidential associates of Lord Vishnu, still they give respect to Prabhupada. It was not really mandatory on them to give him respect like this, Bho Rajan. That's a big respect. But they did so because that's culture. That is Vaikuntha people. They know how to give respects. Aman and Aman, that's what also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. The greater you become, the lower you know how to bend. That's the whole idea. When great people bow down, they become much greater. That's said by scriptures. So they know how to give respect, and they did so. They are very cultured. In fact, Chandika Upanishad says Vaikuntha people are the most cultured people, most civilized. That's the whole point. And their whole culture is born of their devotion. That's the whole idea. So Bhavorajan, they say. And after saying Bhavorajan, they say Subhadramte. Now Prabhupada translates as let there be all good fortune unto you. Now they are giving blessings. Because of course they are Nityasiddha and they are unconditional associates of Lord Vishnu. First they give respect because the whole point is they are very great people. That's the whole point. And great people always give respect even to a small child. That's culture. And especially here, Dhruva Maharaj, who is a devotee. And then they give blessings. Subhadram Te, let there be good fortune unto you. And why they give these blessings? Subhadram Te. And the whole idea is They are saying, let there be good fortunes unto you, because first, the first point is he's going back to Godhead. And who else than they know that he's going back to Godhead? They have come to take him. And then in verses ahead, they will actually remind Dhruva Maharaj that to go back to Vishnu Lok is extremely difficult. And even demigods, they aspire to go back to Godhead. But he's going, and especially he's going back to Godhead from where you don't return to material world. An eternal life he's going to get. That's the second point. He's going to get an eternal life. That's his good fortune. That's the best good fortune, to go back to God and have an eternal life free of birth, death, disease, old age, no material body, no anxieties, no problems. So that's the second point why they give blessings, all good fortune unto you. The first is, yes, you're going back to Vishnu Lok from where nobody returns, and the second is you're going to get an eternal life. But the most important point they're saying, all good fortune unto you, because he is one of a unique devotee who's going back to Vishnu Lok with this body. Nobody, without dying. That's the whole point. He's not dead. He's not dead. I mean, this is generally you die, you leave this body, and then you go back to God. But not with Dhruva Maharaj. Just like not with Tukaram. Tukaram happened 500 years back. Dhruva Maharaj's story happened millions of 20 million, or I mean to say even more than that, between the junction of Satyuga and Treta Yuga. So that's millions and millions of before. But then Tukaram, just 500 years back, he went back to God. He didn't die. Plane came from Vaikuntha. Everybody saw. And that place is there near Pune. That village is there, Behu. And that specific place is there where Vaikuntha plane came. And they took him in front of everybody. So what else evidence you want? And in fact, Ajamil, a plane came from spiritual world, and they took him. Of course, we don't know whether Ajamil left his body again or not. But then in this case, it's very clear. Tukaram's case, it is still documented, at least in the local history. But Dhruva Maharaj, he says, all good fortune unto you. The third reason is, the prime reason is, going back to Godhead in this material body. That's very rare. But you are going to get that blessings now, because Vishnu wants that. That's why this is Subhadram, all good fortune unto you. And all good fortune unto you because you have because you have been devotee since 5 years of age, and since then all your life you have worshipped Lord Vishnu and devoted your life for him. That's Subhadram. That is good fortune, isn't it? Good fortune is not money, it's not success. I mean to say, what's the point of earning money and success? You need money for sustaining your life, and that's pretty much. But that's a part of life. I mean to say, nobody says all good fortune unto you because you brushed your teeth in the morning. Nobody's going to say like that. If anybody says to you like that, you laugh. He's crazy. All good fortune unto you because you passed stool in the morning. Because you didn't have constipation today. It's crazy. Nobody's going to say like that. So, I mean, just similarly for devotees, if somebody says all good fortune unto you because you earned $3 million, well, people might say like that. All good fortune unto you because you became Prime Minister of America. But for us, it's almost similar to saying all good fortune unto you because you brushed your teeth in the morning. For us, earning money, success, it's insignificant. It's actually not even insignificant. It's just a part of life. But this is good fortune. Go back to Godhead. Have eternal life. And if you're extraordinary, you can go back without dying. No death. No birth, disease, old age, death. That's in literal sense, no death. In literal sense, that's being fulfilled here. No death. I mean to say, people ask, well, you say no birth, that is old age, but your saints die. They have tombs. But then what's happening? Well, you can give example of Dhruva. He didn't die. He went back with his body. Literally no death. So, Vavoraj and Subhadram, they now, then these Vaikuntha people speak something different, and they say, Vacham naha avahita shrinu. Shrinu means please hear what we have to say. Vacham naha, na means our. Avahita means without break, or that means attentively. Please hear us attentively. And why do they speak like this to Dhruva Maharaj? Please hear to us attentively, as if Dhruva is not hearing them attentively, or is getting distracted by somebody else around him. Is that the case? Or is he's having different kind of thoughts that I should go or not? I have some kingly duties, what to do? Is that the case that they are saying Avahita? Or is there some other reason? Well, of course, in case of Dhruva, we can safely conclude that his mind is not distracted. And that's why these Vishnu Dutas, they are saying, hear us attentively. No. Yeah, at the same time, if you read Gita, Krishna says, hear me attentively to Arjuna many times. At least few times, of course, not many times, but few times he says, hear to me attentively. Because Arjuna's mind was distracted and he was in distress. He has to say, please hear me attentively. But here he says, but then why these Lord brothers say to Dhruva, please hear us attentively? Because the reason is the doorkeepers are saying, well, you hear us attentively because whatever we're going to say, that's eternal truth. And eternal truth must be given absolute attention, because attention is a part of respect. As Dhruva, he is of course attentive on the message of the doorkeepers. But nevertheless, doorkeeper says, please hear us attentively because they want to make sure that the words are recorded in history, because the words are eternal. They're going to speak something eternal. Their words are sanatana. So that's like the words of Supreme Lord are sanatana. The words of Supreme Lord is called dharma. Religion is dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Bhagavatam says whatever is said by God, that's religion, dharma. But then we don't call it as dharma, we call it as sanatan dharma, because that's eternal. Whatever God says, it's eternal, it's sanatan. Sanatan means it's applicable in all time and place and circumstance. All the rules in dharma can be applied today. Almost all the rules. Why I say almost all the rules? Because some rules you might think they're impractical. But that's your problem. But if you want, it can be applicable. If you want, even in this age. But at the same time, because so just like we call Sanatan Dharma, similarly, the words of doorkeepers, they are also Sanatan. They are also Sanatan. So he says, well, we're going to speak you something, but Shrinu means hear. Hear. Shrinu is an order. Hear us. And Avahita, without being distracted, or in other words, attentively. So and now what they're going to tell them? That's the whole question. What's the message? Now their message is right to the point first. Right to the point. And they say, Ya panchavarshas tapsa bhavan devam adidrivat. At the age of 5, panchavarsha. Tapsa, you did tapsa means austerities. That's an interesting point. You did austerities. Now, what kind of austerities? Of course, in the case of Dhruva, we know his austerities were, to say, real austerities. Real austerities in the sense, his austerities were physical austerities. He stopped eating, he stopped drinking, he stopped breathing. It was on physical plane. So he did austerities, but then, you know, but then that is externally. That's the external part of it. But within himself, he was doing the real austerities, and that was always Krishna and never to forget him. That's what Rupa Goswami says. Prabhupada says, the austerity in devotion is to always remember him and never forget him. That's a real austerity. And Dhruva did that. In fact, people could see only his external austerities, yogis, jnanis, and they appreciated him. But devotees said, okay, fine. Whatever externally he did, that was to help internally. He stopped his breathing because he didn't want to defocus his mind from God. So internal was more important. His external was supporting the internal thing. And that's what is tapasya. That's what is Krishna conscious tapasya. To always remember Krishna and never forget him. And this one principle, this one principle is the king of all principles. So whatever principles we are following, whatever rules we are following, rules and regulations, it's just for always remembering Krishna, never to forget him. Always remember Krishna because you should do such actions which will help you to remember Krishna. And never to forget him means don't do some actions which will make you forget Krishna. And that is chanting Hare Krishna is actions which are associating with devotees which make us help remember Krishna. And never to forget him is like avoiding four regulatory principles and blah blah blah. There's so much list there. But even with common sense, you can understand any action, even if it is not mentioned in the list, in actual devotion, if it makes you forget Krishna, leave it. Any action, if it helps you to remember Krishna, accept it. So that's the whole idea there. Tapsa, he did that austerity. Dhruva was not interested in stopping his breathing, of course. That's the whole point there. Dhyan yogis are interested in stopping their breathing and stopping their eating and enter into trance. But with Dhruva, he was not interested to stop eating, drinking, and breathing. He was interested to focus his mind on Lord Narayana and always chant the mantra of God. And to accomplish that focus and to accomplish that chanting, he stopped eating, drinking, and breathing because he thought this is a distraction in my focus on Lord. So he was interested in remembering God and not in stopping eating and breathing. But yogis are interested only in stopping eating and breathing. They are interested in remembering God. They're interested in powers. So that's the whole point. So at the 5 years you did tapsa, you did a lot of austerities, and that's the whole point. Now here by austerities means Srila Prabhupada brings the point in the purport. He brings the point of training. Srila Prabhupada says that the leaders of Krishna conscious movement should start educational institutions in different parts of the world to train children, starting at the age of 5 years. Now that's the whole point. To remember God, that is a real tapasya. And Dhruva, of course, for accomplishing that task of remembering God always and never to forget him, he's to bring that focus, he stopped eating, drinking, and whatever, sleeping and breathing. But then Prabhupada brings the point here, okay, he did like that. Now we will open educational institutes to make people always remember Krishna and never forget him because we can't make an institute to train you how to stop breathing. That's complete nonsense. What will be there? That's not the point. That's the whole point there. That's not the point. Dhruva could do that, and Dhruva did that. time when their bodies were very strong, and that was a different kind of age. People knew also how to do it to a certain extent, but and their bodies will not get harmed. But if we stop eating even 2 days, we'll die. So, but the idea is same. What he did at Prabhupada says, what was possible for Dhruva Maharaj is possible for anyone. You see the point in Prabhupada, the first line. What is possible for Dhruva Maharaj is possible for anyone. Now, why did Prabhupada say this? Is Prabhupada mad? Because clearly, if we see external things of Dhruva Maharaj, it's not possible for anyone. It's not possible for, it is in fact impossible for everyone. Nobody can stop breathing, let alone stopping drinking and eating. So then the whole question is, why does Prabhupada write what was possible for Dhruva Maharaj is possible for anyone? And the answer is, they are right there in the verse, in the word tapsa. That we were discussing now. The austerities which Dhruva did was to always remember Krishna and never forget him in his own style at that point of time. But today, if you want to always remember Krishna and never forget him, you don't need to stop breathing, you don't need to stop eating and drinking, you need to open educational institutes. That's the whole point Prabhupada is saying. You need training. You need educational training, which can be given by educational institutes. And that should be the agenda of leaders of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada brings this point. Education. And then we can always remember Krishna and never forget him. And then we can bring our mind under control. Because it is said in scriptures, there are three ways to bring anybody under control. Whether a kingdom which is not obedient, or whether children who are not obedient, or whether the mind which is not obedient or out of control. There are three ways. The first is education. And if that doesn't work, then the next is gifts, or fulfill some of their desires. You give them something and they will give you back obedience. Fulfill little desires and they will give you back obedience. That's the second thing. If first doesn't work, if he doesn't understand why to obey. And if that doesn't work, then the third is give them some challenging task or risk, or task which has risk or some challenges. And then they will start obeying. So these three ways are there. So the first way, education, that's the most important thing Prabhupada says. And that's interesting. I mean, that's where Prabhupada writes this almost 4 or 5 lines in the purport, whatever it is. A small purport, but very important. And that's how you connect the purport with the verse. Otherwise, the verse is not at all connected to the purport. It seems funny. What was possible for Dhruva, how is it's possible for anyone? Come on. So, so that's the whole point. Training in education, educational training and educational institute. That's what a movement should be doing. See, I mean to say, Prabhupada says it's necessary for leaders to start educational movement in different parts of the world to train children at the age of 5. Now, what about children? What about adults? What about adults? At least children can learn, but it's at that age. But adults cannot even learn. They have passed that age. They are like what to say, unmalleable. Adults, you can't bend. So many people are joining our movement, new devotees. But then they come to a movement and then they're frustrated. There's no educational system. There's no course, 3 or 4 years course which they can undergo and learn everything systematically. And that is why Prabhupada wanted colleges, Varnashram College. And he's written a letter. And also he has mentioned in his discussions, I want Varnashram colleges connected to every temple. So that when everybody comes to temple, he's immediately enrolled in that college, and he does a course for 1-2 years or whatever is designed, and then he passes out as a trained devotee. That training which will help him to always remember Krishna and never forget him. And that requires training. Come on, that requires training, and a deep training. And 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 you see how many of us who have been connected to Krishna conscious movement since 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 20 years can now can think of Krishna, always think of Krishna and never forget him. That appears to be an impossible task. Finishing 16 rounds is possible, but to remember Krishna, that's impossible. We even forget Krishna while chanting. That's our situation. Why is that? Prabhupada says, because of lack of tapasya. Madhrupa did. And what is that tapasya? That tapasya was to always remember Krishna, never forget him. And how to accomplish that? Now, by educational institutes. And what is that tapasya? That is educational training. By educational training, you can always remember Krishna and never forget him. That's the most important point there. And that should be started at the age of 5 years. If you can't start at the age of 5 years, then any time most welcome. Come along. And that's why I am trying to open a college. This one mushroom college, which Prabhupada said, it's a huge task because you have to make courses, you have to have a place, but we are trying to start. In fact, we have started by the name Badrika Ashram. It will be functional in November, December of this year, and we're working on it. And devotees can come and they can learn things systematically. There are so many things to learn systematically. You can learn Bhagavatham, you can learn other scriptures, Dharma Shastras, you can learn Niti Shastras, you can learn you can also learn singing, music, you can learn arts, Sanskrit, Bengali, you can learn so many things. And then our mind will be fixed on Krishna. We can always remember Krishna. Then it's possible. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So, because then the mind will be trained. So that's the whole point. Here, Panchavarsha Tapsa, and that's the connection. Prabhupada said the face of the word will then change automatically. You see the point. And that's that our leaders should be doing. Our leaders should not just manage. That's the whole point. We have become managers. As a leader, most of our leaders have become managers, managing a bunch of people, 50, 60, 100, 200, 300 congregation. Okay, you keep on managing them. Of course, we are not listening, hearing something. I think we can't hear it. It looks like connection is broken. I don't know. Yeah, it's back. Hare Krishna Mataji, should I call him? Yeah. Yes, Mataji, better because he's coming in and going off. I don't know, there's something. Oh, actually, okay. Yeah. Actually, yeah. So Hare Krishna, I'm back on the call. Is my voice audible now? It is audible, Mataji? Yes. Is it okay now? Yeah, fine. So Hare Krishna. So I'm back on the call. back on the call. So I think Mataji is trying to call me, whoever. I think I'm audible now. Here, so I don't know where did I disconnect. I just can't know. Can anybody just tell me? Managing the role. What's that, Mataji? Manager role. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah, fine. I got it. So yeah, so this managerial role, yes. So I mean to say, yeah, we in ISKCON we have people are. I mean to say, we have become managers, more of managers than educational institute. There are courses, Vaibhav, Sarvam, Shastri, and that's there in pipeline, and that's good. I mean to say, that kind of thing we need all over the world, in all over the temple, but that's not happening, and that's why I travel all around the world. Temples are in messed up condition. Devotees are nice, but there's no systematic training. And Prabhupada wanted that, and I'm hopeful that it's going to come, and we are trying to do that here in India, in Punjab, and we've already started by the name Padrik Ashram College. It will start by December, and we must do. All of us has to take this advice of Srila Prabhupada and focus on educational institutes and educational training. That's if we can do that, if you can achieve that in your congregation, there'll be no problem of management. And in fact, I mean to say, people all around the world, they have a congregation of 50, 60, and they're fighting with each other like cats and dogs. And there's politics, and why it's happening. That's a whole question. The point is not that it will not happen. The point is not that why it is happening. Because everybody's devotee, it shouldn't happen. But that's not the point. It will happen. Politics is going to happen. People are going to get messed up. We are in Kali, we are in this material world. We are devotees, then why it should happen? Well, we are devotees, but we are not trained. That's the whole point. And we have to be trained in Krishna consciousness. We have to be trained in actually in other fields also. For example, the science of interpersonal skills, the science of relationships, the science of speaking, the science of behavior, which is dharma. And then there's so many things. So just like a Bhorajan, these Vaikuntha people, they are actually greeting Dhruva, who is actually junior to them, much junior to them. And in fact, constitutionally, they are Nitya Siddha, they are Nitya Baddha, but still we are being respect. And that's sure. So all these things have to be trained. It doesn't come itself. We might think it will come itself, but it will never come itself because these things are deep. People communicating with each other, it's a very complex and a very subtle thing, which has to be learned under some teacher. Moral values cannot be transferred from book to a person. It has to be transferred from a person to a person. That's, I mean to say, that was the whole point of Socrates and Platonic school. And that is the whole point of our Niti Shastras, our rishis, and our rishis who are dharma. You need a person. And that's the whole point in devotion. You need a guru. So that's the whole point. Prabhupada brings this point, and I think that's where we have to hit the nail. Education. And Prabhupada brings the very point, and then the verse says Bhavan Devam Tripat. You see the point. Prabhupada says the face of word will then change automatically. And Dhruva, he did austerities. He always remember Krishna, never to forget him. He did that, and then this doorkeeper says, but what happened? What was the result of that? Result of that was Ati Tripat. Ati Tripat means greatly satisfied. Ati means greatly. Lord was greatly satisfied. My God, that's a big word, because even to satisfy Krishna, that's super difficult. Prabhupada says in one of his lectures, even to satisfy Supreme Lord a little bit, that's success of a life. But here it says he greatly satisfied him. In all respects, it's right from here, Ati Tripat. In all respects, our aim is not just to satisfy him. Our aim is not, in fact, to satisfy him. to some degree. That's not the aim. That's not our aim from our side. Aside, okay, if you can satisfy me even a little bit, that's fine. You're coming back to me. But from our side, we should not think like that. We should think we have to satisfy him. And not only satisfy him, but we have to satisfy him in all respects. And for that, Bhakti says, until unless you don't put untiring and ceaseless efforts, it's next to impossible to escape from cycle of birth and death. That's the whole point there. Ati Tripat, if you have to satisfy Krishna greatly, your endeavors should be great. Great endeavors lead to great satisfaction. And just like great hunger leads to great meal. The more hungry you are, the more tasty this. That's the whole point. Ati Tripat. And you see, that's the whole point. You greatly satisfy Lord, and that is why they are respecting him. Bhavo Rajan. Oh my dear king. They are giving respect to him. Why? Because they satisfied. He satisfied Vishnu. He satisfied Vishnu in all respects. He was completely satisfied. God was completely satisfied by him. And that's the whole point. Anybody who can satisfy God completely, who can satisfy God even to a certain degree, whole, I mean to say, not about, so not just humans, not just demigods, but whole entire creation will give you respect. Even God will give you respect. That's the whole point. So, and that's why Prabhupada says there. Prabhupada translates this Ati Tripat in the last line of the Prabhupada. The face of the world will then change automatically. You see the point. So, in context of Dhruva, his tapasya was different externally, and the result was that the Lord became satisfied, and the result was the Lord became satisfied, and that was expressed in form of these two Vaikuntha messengers coming to escort him back to spiritual world. But in today's context, tapasya is education, and the result is the Lord will become greatly satisfied, and that will be expressed in form of the face of the world will then change automatically. Everybody will become Sarve Sukhina Bhavantu, Sarve Santu Niramaya. Everybody will become happy and satisfied. And that's what we want. Everybody will become devotees of Lord. And that's this verse all about. It's a beautiful, instructive verse, both at theoretical and practical level, and also instructive level. What we have to do now, what direction our movement should take. We have to give a movement an educational flavor. So so let us put it like this: educational flavor, to bring that educational training in our movement, for children, for adults, for old people, for new devotees, for advanced devotees, for old timers, whatever, different kind of training systems, courses, institutes. We don't need temples now, we need education institutes. That's the whole point. Even Prabhupada said our temples are offering systematic education. That's the first point of the manifesto of ISKCON. Out of 7 points, the first point is to give systematic education to people at large. Prabhupada says that, and then second, third, fourth, fifth points. That was the first point. That we must all focus on, and then we can change this world. And for that, Prabhupada books are sufficient, but we have to teach them, and we have to make courses, build courses on them, and then train people. That's all. And then other books can act as subsidiary, just like books on Dharma, Niti Shastras, which will deal with management and interpersonal skills and behavior, which will help to build community, and so and so. So that's about this verse. Dhruva Maharaj ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody wants to ask any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Wonderful.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the Very, very nice class as usual. Dissecting the verse into different parts and explaining it so beautifully. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. I also just had one comment, if I can, about the expression Bodo and then how Mahaprabhu uses I and then the word Ayu. So I just wanted to add that in the Divya Prabandhams of the Alvars, the word Acho is used over and over because they are unable to uh, describe the beauty of the Lord. So the word
Acho, what's that? What's that? Can you repeat Acho? That's called Acho. Acho. That is actually the original word of Ayu. Ayu derives from the word Acho. Acho means unable. Acha. Yeah. Okay. So the Alvars, when they are unable to describe the beauty of the Lord, they use this word Acho or Ayu, and they say, "I'm not able." Okay. Okay, so that's great. So yeah. So even this term ayo is also in older time it's also it was having a spiritual connotation, isn't it? Yes. That's a real point. Yes. Yeah, that's interesting point. That's interesting. Yeah, thank you for that.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Always good morning, Sri Prabhupada. This is Sundarandas Prabhu. I joined your class a little late when you're starting the second point, Prabhu. But I really liked whatever I heard, especially the portion you emphasized, which was one of the emphasis was about always remembering Krishna and never forget Krishna when we're doing austerities, and how that relates to doing things that will help remembering. And this is the second portion I really appreciated, which is when we're doing some things that will create forgetfulness of Krishna. That's what is being referred as never forget Krishna, like that. And then you give the example of four regulative principles, like why we that is helping towards not forgetting Krishna. Yeah, that point was very helpful for me, Prabhu, to follow the regulations in bhakti. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, I had a question, Prabhu. Yeah, this question is not directly focusing towards the essence of the class, but you did mention it. I really liked it when you talked about how to bring out obedience. You mentioned about three things: education, or giving gifts, or giving challenges, like that. So I want to understand the third thing, the giving challenges portion. How is that bringing obedience? I also heard in this connection that but go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah, what you heard?
I also heard that Srila Prabhupada, one of the things he told about management is you should always give fresh challenge to the devotees.
Yeah, right.
Like that I heard.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear in the context of obedience, how it brings obedience.
Yeah, fine. I understand your point. You see the point, the whole point is, if a person is not obedient, then what do? You give him education and you try to make him understand obedience is good. But if he doesn't understand, then you give him gifts and then he obeys you. But then if that doesn't happen, then you have to give him challenges. You have to give him some challenging work. And when the person starts doing that challenging work, then he will need your advice because you are superior, you are senior, and you're more experienced. He will automatically seek your advice, and then he will start obeying. Because when your advice will start working, when he applies that, will start working, and then he will know. Come on, this he's my welfare, and his advice is good, and let me obey him. And then that will give obedience. That will bring the quality of obedience. He will understand that you need help of wise people in your life when you face challenges. And that's the whole point. So Prabhupada gave challenges to his devotees. He said, okay, go there, do this. And they were doing preaching, and then they were asking Prabhupada, we landed problem, what to do? And Prabhupada said something, and that worked, And then they got faith, Whatever Prabhupada says, that's perfect. And then everybody starts following. That's the whole point. So that is the whole point of giving challenges. I mean to say, one of the points, more important points, how that challenges brings obedience in people's life. And that comes, and yes. So in fact, even in schools, if you see, so there's something called as fun learning. So the teacher gives some complex puzzles, some practical things for students to do, and then they're doing practical, puzzles, and then they can't solve. Then they ask teacher how to do this, and then they so along with solving those puzzles, skills, fun-loving puzzles, they develop this quality of obedience because they start asking the teacher. And when the teacher tells, it starts working, and then they develop faith. Okay, this is a person who we can rely on. And then whatever else teacher says, they just take it. That's the whole point there.
Wow, yeah, very nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's very helpful for me to know this. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can give yourself challenge.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Sure, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhamma Pradam, all those to the Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Very wonderful class, Prabhuji. I had two questions, two separate questions. First question was, during the lecture, you emphasized a lot upon education. At one point, you also mentioned that we don't require temples, but we need more of education among the devotees. Now, training this. So I was just wondering, education here, does it mean for the devotees like taking up the Bhakti Shastri course where we are made more familiarized with the concept of Bhagavad Gita and how and appreciating it with nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, going into depth of it and understanding it, and then that will reinforce our faith. Is that what education is all about, or something else which you want to stress?
Well, that's a part of education. That is, I would not say that's a complete system of education. That's not a system. That's a part of. So let me say that's a course in the system of education. So that's a spiritual course which we are now having. Bhakti Shastri, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatham, Sarvam, and whatever it is. That's a part. But then when you want to bring education system, that's a very different thing. If you want to open educational institute, Prabhupada's institute, an institute should have many courses. It's not just one course. You go to an institute and then, okay, this is a course. You read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, CAC, and then songs, and okay, finished. That's not the whole point. Because many types of people are coming. The purpose of educational institute is to handle all problems through education. So any education institute, law, engineering course, medical course, and blah 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 blah, so that it can address all the problems of the society and train people accordingly. So educational institute should handle all problems. So one of the part of education institute is of course spiritual training. Another part is managerial training, because we have a society and we need to manage. And how to get that managerial training? Okay, you come to educational institute and then you learn the techniques of management through Shastras. Shastras offer those techniques in the form of Niti Shastras. And then another course can be on moral values, which will deal with dharma, because if a person because now society is growing and the age is changing, the age is becoming very corrupt. So in this age, and we have so many people coming in a movement, and we have so many youths who are coming in a movement who are very contaminated nowadays. And as the time goes, people will be more contaminated. These kind of people will be coming. So then, how to handle them? Then they will not be able to chant because their mind are out of control. So then, what to do? That time you will. So you might also need a course of dharma. So that time means this time. Now we are facing the same problem. And so there's a course on dharma which will help to instill moral values, which will help you to keep your mind peaceful and calm, to chant properly. You see the point? So and to draw a line between maryada, what is maryada, what is moral. If you step beyond this, that's immoral within the community. So all these things. So there can be a course on this, and then and then the educational system can also offer course on music. What about music? I mean to say, you have to learn music. It's not that you just take rhythm and so we just bang kartals and that's music. That's not music. That's okay. That's kirtan. That's devotion. That's nice. But then that's chaotic. Music should be very sweet, for the ears, for the pleasure of Lord. But that sweet is not the only criteria. The criteria is it should be according to scriptures. It should be according to the system what is given by God, the system of music given by God, and that is ragas at particular time, and the time when you have to sing, in what tone you have to sing. Uh, so what you so what should be your tempo, the beat of the music, the scale of the music, isn't it? So bhajans you are singing, and how should you play mridanga at a particular time? At different times you have to play differently. You can't play the same beat at every time. So that system, that was traditional Gaudiya Vaishnava system that Narottam Das Thakur learned. Srinivas Acharya, I mean to say, they had developed a system, grand style. Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Thakur had his own style, and those systems are still there in Gaudiya in Bengal, and we can revive them. We can revive the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. That thing Educational Institute can do. Educational Institute can do research on those things, and then we can offer a course on Sanskrit. People want to learn Sanskrit all around the world, to understand scriptures, to understand Bhagavatham, to appreciate Bhagavatam, not just to understand it. To appreciate, if you go in Sanskrit, if you read English, I mean to say, you can understand the essence, crux, no doubt it. Especially Prabhupada has given everything in translations. But at the same time, to relish has no end. To relish it, you need Sanskrit. And if you read in original Sanskrit, because if you read in original Sanskrit, the words have the rhyme, and the words used have a music in it. But if you put in English, that is lost. That thing is lost. The message is there, but that thing is lost. So you might need to offer a course in Sanskrit. You might need to offer a course in Bengali to read original verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which are very sweet to chant. So like that. So then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then there's a whole list, and that's the whole point we are doing here, trying to do it here in our institute, Madhurika Ashram, which I'm going to start in November, December, and we can invite you all there. You can all come, and then so also, I mean to say, I travel all around the world, and there are many Matajis, especially in Europe, who have never worn sari. They don't know how to wear sari. They don't know. In fact, they don't know. In remote part of the world, they have no idea. So they see videos, Matajis wearing saris, putting bindi, mehndi. They have no idea, and there's nobody to teach them. So, in an educational institute can offer these kind of courses. Okay, come and learn how to dress nicely as a lady, as Lakshmi. That's the whole point within Maryada. How to do that, and that will be very nice. So, these kind of courses for children. This is called educational system. This is called educational institute. That's what I meant by education system. Educational institute. That's what Prabhupada meant. And he said you have to open Varnashram institutes, which will cater to all problems, spiritual, material, personal, interpersonal, all these problems. So, and then we can show, Prabhupada says we have to show that Krishna conscious movement have all solutions to all problems of this world. Prabhupada says right in first. Prabhupada says call government, call countries, and we have all solutions to all the problems. So, but where? If somebody comes, okay, now what's the solution? Do you have a solution for terrorism? No, we don't have. But we have. But then it has to be presented in such a manner which will appear practical. I mean, you can't just say the solution for terrorism is chant Hare Krishna to the Prime Minister. If Prime Minister comes to you, is there any solution? This is a practical problem. What should be? Okay, we have a solution. As a movement, we have solutions. Bhagavatham has solutions to everything. But the solutions have to be presented in a particular manner, in a practical manner, so that people can understand. And that needs research, and that needs some kind of it needs efforts to do that, and that's the purpose of education system. So one of the part of education institute is research. That's one of the parts. So that's what I meant. It is a big dimension. It's a big paradigm of education system. What I meant. Yeah. So anyway, in fact, thank you for asking this question. I think it's clear for the. It's clear.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. At least I did not understand the entire dimension of it, coming to think of it now. Thank you so much.
So you had another question. No? So you had two questions.
Yes, I mean, I don't know if anybody else wants to ask a question.
No, you can ask.
The second one was that regarding Tukaram, you mentioned about that he did not leave his body, but he was able to go back to body. That is something which is I was not aware of personally. So could you just, I mean, I don't want you to go into details too much, but how do we know how? I mean, this is came through this. I just not
yeah. In fact, yeah, it has. So in fact, you can go on internet and see. And to say, Tukaram was born 500 years back at the time of Shivaji, 500, 400 years back, whatever. So he was born in Pune, near Pune. There's a village even today, Dehu now. And if you go there, so then there is a place, so Pandharpur near the Dham. He used to go there to devotion, and it's known to everybody. It's recorded in the local history that a plane came from Vaikuntha to take him. He asked his wife, "So are you coming with me? Because the time has come. The people from Vaikuntha has come." And his wife simply laughed at him. She said, "You're gone crazy," and she said, "You go alone." And then he went and in front of everybody, he climbed the plane and he just went off. And then afterwards, his wife said, "Come on, where did he go?" So people said he went to Vaikuntha, and his wife said, "You're joking, you're gone, all have gone crazy," because he couldn't believe. But that's what happened. And that place is there. If you go there to the place, still that place is there. The footprints of Tukaram are there in that place. And so they will tell you from here the plane the plane went back to Vaikuntha, taking Tukaram. So you can read the history. It's there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, that was pronounced very
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful question and session. So I have from one month. This is not connected with the class. Is that okay to ask? Do you have time?
Yeah, I have time. I don't know. You have time. All of you. I don't know what's happening in the conference call, but I have time.
Okay, so she heard your lecture of Nectar of Devotion, and then you were telling the story of Bob, the saint, how in different ways asked anything from God. At the same time, I think she read in Nectar of Devotion that for self-preservation and at the time of danger, we can call Krishna like how Draupadi and Uttara did. So, I mean, her question was, we are in a very low level, like when there is any danger for any family members or anything, we pray to Krishna, please. Also, so what is the? I mean, given that we're supposed to do with respect to prayers and asking for help.
Well, we never ask for help. That's one thing. Asking for help from Krishna, at least for material things. I mean, those are not for spiritual things. Spiritual things we ask. For material problems, we don't ask for help because we have sold our I to him. That's the whole point of devotion. Now our I doesn't belong to us. The responsibility of I within that is surrender. Whatever he does with us, we accept it, good or bad. If we do bad times. So our prayers at that time when we are having problems, family problems or personal problems, at that time what should be our prayers? At that time our prayers should be, oh my Lord, you're so nice that in spite of making me remember your two lotus feet. And that's what we want. Our prayer should be, oh my Lord, in this whole, um, so in this circumstance, or in this bad situations, let me not force more, not less. Let me always remember you. That's the whole verse. Always remember Krishna. Never forget him. And this whole material world is designed to make you forget. So all these problems and this and that either that is because of the karmas, or Krishna wants to test you, whatever, like job, Krishna. Our only prayer is, Krishna, let me always remember you, never forget him. Because all prayers, spiritual prayers, are included in this. Or as Prabhupada says, please engage me in your service. It's the same thing. Same thing. But let me always remember you, never forget him. That's a more way of saying, different practical way of not practical, said the same thing in a different way. So that's the whole point. That should be prayer, nothing else. That's all. And we have lost. They have to understand that problems will come and go. That's the nature of this material world. Shashvatam. And just then how we will going to advance in devotional life. In fact, people, those who their devotees are so nervous and so anxious, full of anxiety. And so if so the whole point is, precaution is better than cure. We have to prepare ourselves in such so that we can simply pray, oh Krishna, you never fall. That's what I want, nothing more than that. That's our prayers. Prayers. May you be glorified. That's our prayers. That's we pray. You're the King of Kings, the Supreme. You're the most powerful. And we are your servants. And as you like with us. That is our pursuit. That is our prevention. That's the prayer. But we have to do like that. That's all. That was the question, isn't it? Or I don't know. I could.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu, for recap. You said the three things we need to stick and to fulfill small desires for them.
So third one is so give them some challenging task.
Knowledge means, is it the spirit to give it to them, or it is a general knowledge what they get?
Musical back. How they will advance. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I think last question because yeah. My name is Martha from Houston, Texas. Prabhu, I just want to see, when you say things like
and they so like the Chega in Madai. I'm sure I'm also one of them available between now. Right, Kaliuga.